what's up? I have been avoiding making this video because it's a little bit uncomfortable. So today I'm going to be sharing some photos of myself and talking a little bit about my specific journey coming out and kind of realizing who I am. And I know I've talked about that before, but I'm actually going to be sharing photos and stuff in this video because not everyone is that kid who always looked like a boy. I did when I was young, when I was in middle school. I didn't, and this is who I am now, and I still have a long way to go in figuring out who I am. So I'm just going to be sharing a little bit about my journey to help people realize that nothing is set and you don't have to be a kid who always knew from, as when you were really little, and that it's a process, and that every person's journey is different and their own. This is me and my sister. I'm the one on the right. I was always a little baby, and we were always known as the cute sisters, basically look like twins. And this is me in the white, second to the left, with my three other cousins on my mom's side, and we were always the four oldest girls in the family, and that's how we were known, but that's different now. By the time I was 4 or 5 years old and I could pick out kind of my own clothes and figure out what I wanted, I looked like a little boy with long curly hair. I was really awkward, and I'd go around with my mom, and people would always talk to my mom and be like, "Oh, is this your son?" "No, actually, that's my daughter." And nothing really bugged me about it. I was just a little kid. It didn't mean anything. But I just kind of thought I was a tomboy, and I was like, yeah, I'm just one of the guys. I never really thought, I'm a girl. I don't belong with them. I was just like a tomboy, and I was a girl at birth, but I was basically, when I played with my friends, I was a guy. It didn't take that long for things to start to become a little bit weird. What was really straightforward with me just playing with the guys became a little bit more complicated when we got older, and the guys were like, wait, this is a girl. She's not one of us. She can go play with her girlfriends. And that kind of happened when I was in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And I started to change a lot. My body started changing. I got my period, I think, when I was 12 or 13. And, I wore a lot of undershirts to hide any development I had. I was uncomfortable with it all, but, now I was becoming a girl, and I kind of just figured that was what I had to do, and I didn't fight it. I just kind of let it happen, and I wasn't happy about it, but I didn't say anything about it or try to stop it. By the time I was in middle school, I had basically completely decided, hey, I'm a girl. I grew my hair out, I straightened it every single day, and after a few months of middle school, I remember I kind of became a mess. My middle school started in 7th grade, and in 7th grade, I started seeing a therapist because I was really depressed, I was unhappy, and I felt like I never could really figure out why. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew I hated myself so much. I was obsessed with how I looked. I tried to make myself look as girly as possible. So often, I was obsessed with boys, masking the fact that I really liked girls. I was just extremely unhappy, but at the time, I had no idea, and I don't think my therapist knew. My mom didn't know. I was just an unhappy kid for all of middle school, which led me to switching high schools to a private school out of my public school district, and then things started to change again when I realized I had a chance to recreate who I was. It took a really long time for me to actually make any big changes, but I remember all throughout my freshman and sophomore year, I used to wear sports bras every single day. I used to pull my hair back. In most pictures that I took of myself, I would crop my hair so that it didn't even look like I basically had hair, so it looked like I had some weird guy's haircut. And I felt a little bit more confident in myself, but I was so busy in school and all my other activities that I didn't really have time to figure out who I was. But I just kind of went through a few years of high school, and at the end of my junior year, I finally decided to cut all my hair off. And I have a photo of the very first day I got my hair cut off, and I don't think I've ever been so happy, and I felt so free and good. And from there on, I kind of just began to feel more and more comfortable in my body and who I was. Cutting my hair made a huge difference for me. And I started to dress more masculine. I was okay with shopping in the men's section again, like I did when I was, little, and I shopped in the boys section. And I just started to feel more secure in myself. And then by the time I came to college, I was ready to really embrace my gender identity, and I was okay with it. I'm still working at embracing it, but I've just become more and more confident, and throughout all of this have just felt more like myself and who I know I am.
I guess I'm kind of making this video because in fewer than 20 days, I will be getting my very first testosterone injection. And in fewer than 20 days after that, I think, if my math is right, I will be getting top surgery. And both of those things are permanent in a sense. But if you really think about it, every change that I've made has been permanent if you want to define everything as somewhat permanent. Everything has some kind of effect. And that just because I'm starting my medical transition now doesn't mean that I've been transitioning my entire life. This is who I am now, and the person that I will be 6 months from now is probably going to be just as different as I was 6 months ago if you compare me 6 months ago to how I am now. And that medically transitioning feels like a big deal. Have a deeper voice. I'll be able to grow facial hair. I will be able to gain muscle more easily, thank God. I will grow more armpit hair. But I've been changing my entire life, and just because someone doesn't medically transition, or because I am only doing so now, doesn't reduce the fact or that I'm trans or invalidate it whatsoever. And I think that's really important, because if you look at that video, I've changed so much. I've changed my name. I've changed how I've looked. I've, switched schools to be who I am and who I know that I am. And I'm just really excited to keep on figuring that out and becoming more comfortable with myself and my body, and finally having a body that matches how I feel inside. I'm just so excited for that, and so, so, so grateful.